I used to grow everything. If it was in the seed catalog and it sounded interesting, it went in the garden. Corn, watermelon, pumpkins, Brussels sprouts, cauliflower, celery. I wanted a garden that looked like a farm stand with a little bit of everything, and every year the same thing happened. Half the garden produced well, and the other half took up enormous amounts of space, time, and resources while producing almost nothing in return. I would spend an entire season nursing a cauliflower plant that occupied 2 square feet for 4 months and gave me one head the size of my fist. Meanwhile, the tomato next to it produced 20 pounds from a single square foot. The math never worked, but I kept planting everything because that is what gardeners do. 3 seasons ago, I stopped doing that. I looked at every crop in my garden and asked one question: does this earn its space? If the answer was no, I removed it from the plan regardless of how much I enjoyed eating it. The result was a garden that produced more food from less space with less work than any season before. In this video, I am going to show you the 7 vegetables I stopped growing and the specific reason each one lost its spot. These are not bad vegetables. They are bad uses of limited garden space, and for each one, I will show you what replaced it and why the replacement produced dramatically more food. Stay to the end because the last one is the crop category most gardeners consider essential, and it turned out to be the biggest space waster in my entire garden. Number 1 is corn. This is the first crop I eliminated and the one I should have removed years earlier. Corn takes up a surprising amount of space and produces relatively little food. To grow it properly, you need a block of plants for pollination, which can consume a large section of a small garden. Meanwhile, that same space could produce tomatoes, beans, or greens for months. I still love fresh sweet corn, but I would rather buy it from a local farm stand and use my garden space for crops that deliver far more food per square foot. What replaced it? Tomatoes and pole beans on a trellis, same footprint, multiple harvests, dramatically more food. Number 2 is full-size watermelon, and number 3 is pumpkins. Both share the same problem. They consume enormous amounts of space while producing only a handful of harvests. Watermelon vines can take over an entire bed for a few melons. Pumpkin vines can spread even farther and often produce only a few pumpkins. If you have a large property, that is fine. But in a small backyard garden, the space is usually better used for crops that produce continuously. I still grow small melon varieties vertically on trellises because I enjoy homegrown melons, but I stopped giving entire beds to sprawling vines. Number 4 is Brussels sprouts, and number 5 is cauliflower. Both are expensive at the grocery store, which makes them seem like smart crops to grow, but they occupy valuable garden space for months and produce relatively small harvests. Cauliflower is especially demanding and often disappoints gardeners because it needs nearly perfect conditions. After several seasons of mediocre results, I replaced both with broccoli, kale, lettuce, and beans, crops that are easier to grow and produce significantly more food from the same footprint. Broccoli gives you a main harvest plus side shoots. Kale can produce for months. The return on space is simply much better. Number 6 is celery. Celery takes months to mature, requires constant moisture, and ultimately replaces one of the cheapest vegetables in the grocery store. The return simply is not there. The same square foot planted with basil, parsley, and cilantro saved me far more money and produced harvests week after week. That was the moment I realized some crops are not worth growing just because you enjoy eating them. They have to earn the space they occupy. Number 7 is not one vegetable. It is an entire category. Bush varieties of crops that have climbing alternatives. Bush beans instead of pole beans. Bush cucumbers instead of trellised cucumbers. Determinate tomatoes spreading outward instead of indeterminate tomatoes growing upward. Bush varieties are often marketed as easier because they require less support. And that is true, but they are usually far less productive per square foot. Pole beans can produce for months while occupying almost no ground space. Trellised cucumbers keep producing while using vertical space that would otherwise go unused. Indeterminate tomatoes continue growing and fruiting throughout the season instead of producing a single flush and stopping. The moment I started replacing bush crops with climbing versions, production increased dramatically. I harvested more food while actually using less ground space. That single change may have improved my garden more than any other adjustment on this list. Another thing I noticed after removing these crops was how much simpler the garden became. There were fewer pest problems to manage, fewer plants demanding special care, and fewer sections of the garden tied up for months waiting on a single harvest. Instead of constantly checking whether the cauliflower was heading properly or wondering if the Brussels sprouts would mature before the weather changed, I was harvesting crops that simply kept producing week after week. Tomatoes ripened continuously, pole beans kept flowering, herbs needed little more than occasional harvesting, lettuce could be replanted multiple times in the same season. The garden started feeling less like a collection of individual projects and more like a food-producing system. That shift was surprisingly important because most gardeners do not quit due to lack of interest. They quit because the garden becomes too much work relative to the food it produces. One of the biggest mistakes new gardeners make is copying what they see other people growing without considering their own goals. If your goal is education, then growing a little bit of everything makes sense. If your goal is enjoyment, then plant whatever makes you happy. But if your goal is producing the maximum amount of food from a limited space, the conversation changes completely. Every crop has an opportunity cost. Every square foot dedicated to one plant is a square foot that cannot be used by something else. Once I started comparing crops against what could be grown in the same space instead of evaluating them individually, my entire planting strategy changed. Suddenly, the question was no longer, can I grow this? The question became, is this the best use of this space? That single mindset shift probably increased my harvests more than any fertilizer, amendment, or gardening technique I have ever used. This is the pattern behind all 7 of these decisions. Every crop I eliminated shared the same flaw. It consumed more space or more time than the food it produced was worth, given the alternatives available in the same footprint. Corn was romantic but mathematically wasteful. Watermelon and pumpkins were fun but consumed entire beds for a few harvests. Brussels sprouts and cauliflower locked up space for months with relatively small returns. Celery demanded far more attention than it was worth. And bush varieties of everything produced a fraction of what climbing alternatives delivered from the same ground. The garden that replaced all of these produces more food, costs less to run, and takes less time to maintain than the garden that tried to grow everything. And that is really the point of this entire video. None of these vegetables are bad. If you love growing pumpkins, grow pumpkins. If corn is your favorite crop, plant corn. Gardening should still be enjoyable, but if your goal is maximum food production from limited space, some crops simply outperform others by a huge margin. The most productive gardens are not necessarily the gardens with the most varieties. They are the gardens filled with crops that earn their place season after season. Once I stopped trying to grow everything and started growing the right things, my harvests increased, my costs dropped, and gardening became far more rewarding. Sometimes the fastest way to grow more food is not planting something new, it is deciding what to stop growing.